Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Galactic leaders shocked by the first human warship encounter. The Galactic Confederation scanning vessel Harmonious Intent drifted silently through the outer reaches of the Cygnus armed senior analyst Teju sat motionless at his monitoring station, his six-fingered hands hovering over the control panel. His mandibles clicked together rapidly as unexpected readings appeared on his display. "Director Mji," he called, his voice tight with urgency. "Unknown vessel detected on approach vector. Configuration matches no known species in our database." Director Mji glided across the command deck, her luminescent appendages dimmed slightly as she leaned forward to study the readings. The ship's pale blue lighting reflected off her silvery skin. "Is it a derelict, perhaps? A rogue mining vessel that strayed from registered routes?" she asked, her four eyes narrowing at the unusual energy signatures. "Negative," Teju replied, running another scan. "It's powered and maintaining steady course. Based on emissions, it appears to be primitive pre-Confederation technology by at least 200 cycles." Mji's eyes widened. "A new species? Here in this sector?" She straightened her ceremonial collar, a habit she displayed when nervous. "Alert the diplomatic team immediately. This is precisely what we've prepared for." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. Within minutes, first contact protocols were activated. The Harmonious Intent maintained distance while sending standard greeting signals on all known communication frequencies. "No response to standard greetings," Communications Officer Doyen reported, "but I'm detecting radio waves emanating from the vessel. Very basic technology. Prepare the diplomatic shuttle," Mji ordered. "I want visual contact established within 3 hours." The Confederation diplomatic shuttle glided smoothly through space, its iridescent hull reflecting starlight as it approached the unknown vessel. Ambassador Juno stood at the viewing port, his ceremonial robes rustling as he clasped his hands behind his back. "Fascinating design," noted Science Officer Toem. "Angular and utilitarian. No consideration for aesthetics whatsoever." The vessel indeed presented a stark contrast to Confederation ships. Where their vessels featured smooth organic curves, this ship was all hard angles and exposed structural elements. Most concerning were the visible weapon mounts and thick armor plating, unusual for a spacefaring civilization's first interstellar vessel. "Those appear to be primitive ballistic weapon ports," Security Officer 2 observed. "Kinetic weapons. We haven't seen those used in space combat for 12 generations." Ambassador Juno nodded thoughtfully. "A young species, then. Aggressive, perhaps, but that's not uncommon for early interstellar civilizations." As the diplomatic shuttle approached to standard greeting distance, Communication Officer Summon activated the Universal Translator, broadcasting greeting messages on all frequencies, including basic mathematical sequences and visual communication protocols. For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then suddenly, a response came through their communication array. "This is Captain Juno of the United Earth ship Vigilant. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations." The bridge crew exchanged surprised looks. The translation was nearly perfect. The unknown species had quickly deciphered their communication protocols. "Visual contact requested," Ambassador Juno said. The main screen flickered, revealing a creature unlike any in Confederation records. It had only 2 arms, 2 legs, and a single head with just 2 eyes. Its skin was pale and mostly hairless except on top of its head. It wore some kind of uniform with insignia that presumably denoted rank. "Greetings, Captain Juno," Ambassador Juno said, bowing slightly. "I am Ambassador Juno of the Galactic Confederation, representing 37 spacefaring species. We welcome you to this sector of space." The human's expression was difficult to read with such alien features, but it appeared to be displaying curiosity rather than fear. "We are honored to make your acquaintance, Ambassador," Captain Juno replied. Humanity has long wondered if we were alone in the universe. Today, we have our answer. The diplomatic exchange proceeded smoothly for nearly 20 minutes. The humans shared basic information about their home world, a planet called Earth, and explained they had only achieved faster-than-light travel within the past decade. Standard procedure requires us to conduct a biological scan before further interaction, Ambassador Juno explained. This is merely to ensure biosafety protocols for both our species. The scan is harmless. Captain Juno nodded. We understand. Proceed with your scan. Science Officer Hayami activated the standard bioscan. A purple beam of energy swept out from the diplomatic shuttle, washing over the human vessel as it collected data about the organic life forms within. Aboard the Vigilant, alarms suddenly blared. Lieutenant Subuhan's fingers flew across his tactical station. Captain. Unknown energy signature targeting our hull. Pattern consistent with weapons targeting systems. Captain Juno's expression hardened instantly. Defensive positions. Raise shields. First Officer Minhee stepped closer. Sir, they claimed it was just a scan, and it might be. Jono replied grimly, but we don't know these beings. We don't take chances this far from home. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, each officer responding to years of training for this exact scenario. Across the vessel, hidden systems hummed to life. The Confederation diplomats watched in shock as the seemingly primitive vessel suddenly shimmered with an energy field far beyond what their scans had detected. The field's complexity and power output suggested technology at least equivalent to their own, perhaps even more advanced in some aspects. Simultaneously, the Vigilant executed a perfect tactical maneuver, rotating 45 degrees while maintaining position. The movement revealed previously concealed weapon emplacements along its hull, now fully powered and oriented toward the diplomatic shuttle. Impossible, whispered Teju, watching from the harmonious intent. Their technology is hidden. Our scans showed nothing like this capability. Ambassador Juno's scales paled. We must de-escalate immediately. Captain Juno, please understand our scan carried no hostile intent. It is standard protocol for first contact situations. But the damage was done. Trust had been broken before it could fully form. We understand your explanation, Captain Juno replied, his voice notably cooler than before. However, we request that any future scans be announced with specific details about their nature and purpose. The Vigilant will maintain defensive posture until we return to our territory. The diplomatic shuttle hastily retreated, its mission suddenly transformed from peaceful greeting to urgent intelligence gathering. As they docked with the harmonious intent, Ambassador Juno's expression was grim. Director Mji, he reported, we have encountered something unprecedented. These humans appear primitive at first glance, but they possess technology they deliberately concealed from our scans. Their defensive capabilities activated instantly upon detecting our bioscan. A deceptive species? Asked Mji, alarmed. Or simply cautious, Juno replied. But either way, the Galactic Council must be informed immediately. These humans are not what they appear to be. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council gleamed under soft blue light. 12 seats arranged in a perfect circle represented the founding species of the Confederation. Tension filled the air as the emergency session began. High Counselor Jury rose from her seat, her forearms extended in the traditional gesture of urgent address. Her scaled skin shimmered as she moved toward the central platform. This is unprecedented, Jury's voice echoed through the chamber. The assembled representatives fell silent, their diverse bodies all turning toward the holographic display hovering above the center of the room. It showed the human vessel Vigilant in perfect detail, slowly rotating to reveal every angle. A new spacefaring species, undocumented until now, with technology they deliberately concealed from our scans, Jury continued. I call upon Admiral DOA to present the intelligence findings. Admiral DOA stepped forward, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber lights. He moved with military precision, each of his 6 legs clicking against the polished floor. The Admiral's compound eyes reflected the hologram as he took his position. "Our intelligence division has completed its initial assessment," DOA reported, his mandibles clicking between words. "These humans originate from a planet designated as a Class 4 Death World." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Class 4 Death Worlds were rare environments so hostile that most Confederation species considered them uninhabitable. For those unfamiliar with the classification, DOA continued, a Class 4 designation indicates extreme planetary conditions, dramatic temperature variations between regions and seasons, high gravity, atmospheric components toxic to most life forms, frequent natural disasters, and extensive biological hazards including predators and microorganisms. The Admiral tapped his control pad, and the hologram shifted to show a blue-green planet. "This is Earth, the human home world. Surface gravity is 1.3 times our standard. Temperatures range from -50 to +50 degrees on their scale. Their atmosphere contains reactive oxygen, a gas that would damage the respiratory systems of 9 Confederation species. Their oceans cover 70% of the surface with corrosive salt water." Counselor Nari leaned forward, her crystalline body refracting light across the chamber in rainbow patterns. Unlike her organic colleagues, Nari's silicon-based species communicated through light pulses, translated for others by the small device at her core. "That explains much," Nari noted, her translated voice calm and melodic. "Species from such environments tend to develop highly defensive technologies and mindsets. Evolution on harsh worlds requires constant vigilance and protective adaptations." The hologram shifted again, showing footage of the Vigilant activating its previously hidden defensive systems. "What concerns me," rumbled Elder Hayek from his temperature-controlled seat, his massive gas bag body gently pulsing as he spoke, "is their deception. The vessel presented as primitive yet concealed advanced capabilities. This suggests paranoia, perhaps hostility. Elder Hayek's species evolved in the upper atmosphere of a gas giant. His translucent skin revealed swirling internal organs as he became agitated. They approached our territory with weapons hidden," Hayek continued. "In the history of our Confederation, such behavior has preceded aggression in 73% of cases." Counselor Jean Wu, the eldest member present, slowly rose from his seat. His arthropod body showed signs of his advanced age, faded shell coloration and slightly bent antennae. When he spoke, the chamber fell silent out of respect. "Or perhaps it indicates prudence," Jean Wu countered quietly. "Would any of us venture into the unknown without precautions? Consider the facts objectively, they revealed weapons but did not fire. They demonstrated shields but made no aggressive moves." Jean Wu's antennae waved gently as he gestured toward the hologram. "Their actions were defensive, not offensive. Remember, we initiated the scan without detailed explanation. To a species from a death world, unexpected energy directed at their vessel might naturally trigger defensive protocols." The council chamber erupted into debate. Counselor Sioan, whose aquatic species required a water-filled environmental suit, bubbled loudly as she spoke, "We should establish containment protocols immediately. Their system should be quarantined until we understand their full capabilities." "Nonsense," countered Counselor De, his winged form hovering above his seat. "This is an opportunity for technological exchange. Their shield technology appears novel in its approach. At minimum," added Counselor Ryu, a sentient plant whose flowering head swayed with emotion, "we should monitor their system for at least 12 cycles before further contact. Caution is warranted." Voices overlapped as the council divided into factions. Some members demanded immediate military preparations, others advocated for accelerated diplomatic efforts. The chamber's translator system struggled to keep pace with the overlapping voices. High Counselor Jury's patience finally reached its limit. She struck the ceremonial chime, its crystalline tone cutting through the chaos. "Enough," she declared. "We are the Galactic Council. We make decisions based on wisdom, not fear." The chamber quieted as she continued, "I propose a middle path. We will send our flagship, the Enlightened Path, with our most experienced diplomatic team. Its advanced capabilities will provide security while demonstrating our peaceful intentions. Ambassador Jean Su has extensive experience with first contact scenarios." Jury surveyed the chamber. "We must learn more before making judgments. This motion requires a majority vote." One by one, the councillors registered their votes. The final tally appeared above the central hologram: 7 in favor, 5 opposed. "The motion carries," jury announced. "Admiral DOA, you will coordinate with Ambassador Jean Su. I expect daily reports." As the council session formally adjourned, the representatives broke into small groups, continuing their discussions in hushed tones. Admiral DOA remained at his station, seemingly reviewing data on his personal display. Once the chamber had nearly emptied, DOA touched his communication implant, activating the secure channel to military command. His voice was low, barely audible even to those nearby. "This is Admiral DOA to Central Command. Prepare Contingency Plan Theta 9. Stand by our rapid response fleet in the outer Cygnus sector." A pause as he listened to the response. "Yes, full combat readiness," he continued. "The Council has approved diplomatic contact, but military preparedness is my responsibility. These humans may be more dangerous than they appear." DOA's compound eyes shifted to the hologram of the Vigilant, still rotating above the council floor. Their hidden capabilities suggest they anticipated potential hostility. A species that evolved expecting threats will not hesitate to strike first if they feel cornered. "We must be ready." He terminated the communication and stepped away from the platform. The hologram continued its silent rotation, the human ship's weapons now fully visible, a reminder of the unexpected challenge that had appeared at the edge of Confederation space. In her private chamber adjacent to the council hall, High Councillor Jury reviewed the classified portions of the intelligence report, the parts too sensitive to share with the full council. Her eyes widened as she read the preliminary assessment of human biology and psychology. "May the Founders guide us," she whispered to herself. "We may have awakened something we don't understand at all." The United Earth Defense Council chamber was built deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Its walls were lined with dark stone, and soft white lights illuminated the round table where Earth's 12 most powerful leaders sat. Armed guards stood at attention by every door. Captain Juno stood straight, his blue uniform crisp and perfect as he finished his report. His face showed no emotion, but his hands gripped the edge of the podium tightly. "In summary, we have confirmed intelligent extraterrestrial life organized into some form of confederation. Their technology appears advanced in some areas, particularly in propulsion and communications, but notably behind ours in defensive systems and weapons technology." The room was completely silent. Some council members stared at their screens, reviewing the data from the Vigilance encounter. Others watched Captain Juno with wide eyes. General Zhou, a woman with short gray hair and more medals on her chest than anyone else in the room, leaned forward. Her face was marked with old scars from the Asian conflict 20 years earlier. "And you believe they attempted to scan our ship's interior?" she asked, her voice sharp and clear. "Yes, General," Juno replied. "Their energy beam penetrated our outer hull by 3 millimeters before our shields activated. Our countermeasures interpreted the scan as potentially hostile, though it may have been standard procedure for them." "Show us the alien vessel again," ordered Admiral Yunji, head of the Space Force. The holographic display in the center of the table came to life, showing the elegant curved shape of the alien diplomatic shuttle. Its iridescent surface seemed to flow like liquid metal. Admiral Yunji tapped her screen, bringing up the Vigilance sensor readings. "The question is, did we reveal too much by activating our shields? We've shown capabilities we can't retract. The shields were level 2 only, Captain Juno pointed out. They didn't see our full defensive capacity. Dar. Sunan, the Council's lead xenobiologist, shook his head. His long fingers adjusted his glasses as he spoke. Better they know we can defend ourselves. History shows that perceived weakness invites aggression, even among our own species. I agree, said Defense Minister Taeon. For centuries, we theorized that any aliens advanced enough for interstellar travel would be peaceful, but our own history suggests otherwise. Technology and morality don't always advance together. Vice President Ja nodded. Captain Juno, in your opinion, did these aliens intend harm? Juno considered the question carefully. No, Madam Vice President. Their communication seemed genuine. The scan was likely routine for them, but our protocols were designed to be cautious. We have another problem, interrupted Intelligence Director Yuna. Her silver hair was pulled back tightly, and her expression was grave as she swiped her hand across her display. New images appeared in the central hologram. Our long-range sensors have detected increased activity in their fleet. Multiple vessels mobilizing near the edge of our detectable range. Some appear to be military in nature. She zoomed in on one massive ship. Its design was similar to the diplomatic vessel but much larger, with visible weapon ports along its hull. This is their largest vessel. It launched from their central space station 6 hours after the Vigilant returned to our space. Its current trajectory will bring it to the neutral zone within 3 days. The council chamber fell silent, each leader processing what this might mean for humanity. Defense Minister Tadong was the first to speak. We should mobilize the Third Fleet, position our forces at the edge of our territory. That could be seen as escalation, countered Foreign Secretary Mino. If they are preparing for diplomatic contact, arriving with warships would send the wrong message. And if they're preparing for military action? General Zhu asked. We'd be vulnerable. The debate continued for nearly an hour. Some council members advocated for aggressive positioning of Earth's fleet, others argued for patience and diplomatic preparation. Through it all, President Hunky remained silent, listening to each viewpoint. He was the oldest person in the room, his face lined with the wisdom earned through decades of leadership. When he finally raised his hand, the room immediately fell quiet. For over a century, humanity has looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone, President Hunky began, his voice soft but clear. Now we have our answer. This moment will define our species' future for generations to come. He stood slowly, walking to the holographic display. The alien ship rotated slowly above the table, its strange beauty captivating everyone's attention. We will not repeat the mistakes of our past, the president continued. Throughout human history, first contacts between different cultures often ended in bloodshed because of fear and misunderstanding. We have learned from those failures. President Hunky looked at each council member in turn. We will extend one hand in friendship and keep the other near our weapon. Prepare the Novian for diplomatic engagement. Captain Minjan will command. Admiral Yunji looked surprised. The Novian is our most advanced vessel. Are you certain we should reveal such technology? Precisely because it is our most advanced, the president replied. It can protect itself if necessary, and it demonstrates both our technological capability and our desire for peaceful relations. No deception this time. He paused, looking at each council member. We've prepared for this moment since we discovered faster-than-light travel. Humanity will not start a conflict, but neither will we cower before any threat. The council members nodded in agreement. Even those who had argued for more aggressive approaches respected the balanced wisdom of the decision. Captain Juno, the president said, you and your crew performed admirably in an unprecedented situation. You will join the Novian as first contact advisor. Juno bowed his head slightly. Yes, Mr. President. Thank you. Intelligence Director Yuna, continue monitoring their fleet movements. I want updates every 6 hours. Of course, Mr. President. Dr. Sunan, assemble your best xenobiologists. Prepare first contact protocols based on what we've learned about their biology and communication styles. The xenobiologist nodded eagerly. My team is already analyzing the data, sir. President Hunky returned to his seat, his expression solemn but determined. This council is now in continuous session until further notice. Humanity stands at the threshold of a new era. Let us step forward with wisdom and courage. As the meeting continued with detailed planning, Captain Juno stepped away to look at the large world map on the chamber wall. Tiny lights showed human settlements spread across Earth and throughout the solar system, on Luna, Mars, the Jovian moons, and the asteroid belt mining colonies. For the first time, he fully understood the weight of his discovery. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. Whether this meant new friends or new enemies remained to be seen, but nothing would ever be the same again. Outside the mountain complex, snow fell gently on the Colorado landscape. The stars above were hidden by clouds, but somewhere out there, alien eyes were watching Earth with equal parts curiosity and concern. The barren star system hung silent in the emptiness of space. A single gas giant loomed large, its swirling storms of orange and yellow visible from millions of kilometers away. 7 airless moons orbited the giant planet, their cratered surfaces reflecting the distant starlight. This empty system had been chosen as the neutral meeting point, no habitable planets, no colonies, no strategic value to either side. The Confederation's flagship Enlightened Path arrived first. It emerged from faster-than-light travel with a gentle ripple of blue-green energy. The ship's design mirrored the Confederation's philosophy, an elegant vessel with flowing organic curves. Its pearlescent hull seemed almost alive, with sections that could shift and adapt to different conditions. On the command deck, Ambassador G paced slowly, her forearms clasped behind her back. Her silver skin caught the light as she moved between her diplomatic team members. Our scans detect no other vessels in the system, reported Navigation Officer Tamman. We are alone for now. Ambassador G nodded. Excellent. We have time to prepare. She turned to face her team of 12 diplomats, each from a different Confederation species. This meeting is unprecedented, she said, her voice calm but serious. Remember the briefing. Show respect but remain vigilant. These humans are an unknown. Ambassador, her aide interrupted, his eyes wide as he stared at the main viewing screen. Something is emerging from superluminal travel. All eyes turned toward the screen. Space itself seemed to bend and fold approximately 10,000 kilometers away. A brilliant flash of pure white energy erupted, temporarily overwhelming the screen's filters. When the light faded, the human ship was there. The Confederation crew fell silent in awe and shock. Even Ambassador G, who had seen hundreds of alien vessels in her career, found herself speechless. The Novian was massive, easily 3 times the size of the Enlightened Path. Its angular design contrasted sharply with the Confederation's aesthetic. Where their ships had smooth curves, the human vessel featured bold geometric lines and sharp angles. Unlike the hidden capabilities of the first human ship they'd encountered, this vessel made no attempt to disguise its nature. Armored plating covered its hull, punctuated by what were clearly weapon emplacements and sensor arrays. Yet there was an undeniable beauty to its design. The proportions were perfect, suggesting that function and form had achieved balance. The hull gleamed with a dark blue-gray finish that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Their ship is. Science Officer Juno struggled to find words. Intimidating, Ambassador G composed herself quickly. Open communications. The main screen flickered, and a human face appeared. The beam wore a dark blue uniform with silver insignia on the shoulders. This is Captain Minjan of the United Earth ship Novian, came the transmission. We come seeking peaceful dialogue. Ambassador G stepped forward. Captain Minjan, I am Ambassador G of the Galactic Confederation. We welcome you to this neutral space and look forward to establishing diplomatic relations. The initial exchange was formal and cautious. Both sides shared basic information about their respective civilizations. The humans explained that they represented a united planetary government called the United Earth Alliance, comprising all nations of their home world plus colonies throughout their solar system. As the conversation progressed, the tone gradually warmed. Captain Minjan appeared genuinely interested in learning about the Confederation's history and structure. After an hour of discussion, Ambassador G decided to address the subject they had been avoiding. Captain, if I may ask a direct question, your vessel's design suggests significant military capability. The Confederation values transparency in diplomatic relations. Would you be willing to discuss your defensive technologies? On screen, Captain Min exchanged glances with his officers before responding. Ambassador, we understand your concern. Our first vessel, the Vigilant, activated defensive measures during our initial encounter, which may have created misunderstanding. Rather than technical specifications, perhaps a demonstration would be the most efficient explanation of our capabilities. Ambassador G consulted briefly with her security team before agreeing. A demonstration would be acceptable, provided it poses no threat to our vessel. You have my word, Captain Min replied. Please maintain your position. The demonstration will take place at a safe distance. What followed astonished the Confederation observers. The Novian deployed a dozen small drones. These unmanned craft quickly arranged themselves in a complex pattern, then fired low-powered energy beams to create a dense field of superheated plasma and debris. This simulates combat conditions, Captain Min explained. Watch. The massive human ship surged forward directly into the chaotic debris field. Its movements were impossibly precise, adjusting trajectory by fractions of degrees to avoid larger obstacles, while smaller pieces bounced harmlessly off its energy shields. The ship executed a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible for a vessel of its size, showing acceleration rates that defied the Confederation's understanding of inertial physics. Incredible, whispered Science Officer Juno. Their navigation systems must be operating at quantum speeds. Next, the Novian positioned itself at the center of the debris field. Captain Minjan's voice came through the communication channel again. Now, a demonstration of our shield technology. Please monitor with your sensors. The drones suddenly fired concentrated energy beams directly at the human vessel. The shields flared brilliant blue as they absorbed energy that would have crippled Confederation vessels of similar size. Not only did the shields hold, but sensors showed they were redirecting the absorbed energy to the ship's power systems. They're using the attacks to power their own systems, Technical Officer Doan reported, his voice filled with disbelief. That shouldn't be possible. Most shocking was the final demonstration of their propulsion system,